Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Derek Sills coming back to you again, coming live on the board, learning how to identify sectional drawings on the blueprints. This is going to be a very good course that you're going to really need to get up underneath your belt, because this is a very big part of reading blueprints, and this is how you're going to come up with a lot of your materials that you need to order for this job, and a lot of information is on a sectional view. So let's get started. First thing we want to determine when you're looking at a floor plan, this is just a small little floor plan that has arrows with double A. A for inside the building, okay? And that's inside the building here. It's going to tell you all the wealth of information that you're going to need for the inside, even up underneath the ground. This is what you call a raised foundation. This tells you the concrete, gives you dimensions, gives you your sizes of your lumber, sizes of your insulation, also tells you how far your rafter cornice is going to come out in terms of your lookout here for your soffit, your roof size, the pitch of the roof or the cut of the roof that you're going to have to do, the insulation. There's a lot of information here that I've written out, and I've drawn this out myself. There was more, but I just couldn't cram it all in, but I will go over it. As you can see, I highlighted or bubbled this area because I did not do the finishing part of the drawing on this detail here, but you're going to get the scope of what I'm talking about, and you're going to get the heart of the matter concerning a sectional view. A sectional view is very important. You're looking through this building the way the arrow is showing you. So if you're standing outside looking through the building, this is what you're going to see. This is what you call a sectional view. It's a section double A. Double A. Section double A. So we want you to pay attention. You always got to pay attention, because we're going to be giving some information that's going to be very intuitive for you to progress on your job site. So you'll know whether you're a homeowner, whether you're a builder, whether you're a carpenter apprentice, or whether you just want to know, just be in the know on how we as carpenters really build. So as you can see, I have this massive drawing here on my board with a lot of detailed information that's highly needed. So let's start from the ground up. First, you got your crawl space. Your crawl space is at the bottom here. So you're going to see certain symbols and certain things drawn, which this is actually dirt, okay? But they call it finished grade. So you remember your dirt with this line here is going to be what you call finished grade. That is the bottom. That's the ground, finished grade. You have also information with your stem wall. This is what you call a stem wall. Only for raised foundations or buildings that's raised up off the ground from concrete. Okay, and then you have your plates. You have a double. PT stands for pressure treated. That means that pressure treated lumber can sit on top of concrete. You can have womanized, or you can have pressure treated. You can have pine, but it has to be able to adhere to sit on concrete. Because what happens to concrete moisture, it will start deteriorating. It will start decaying the lumber. Okay, you just can't put any type of lumber on top of concrete. Okay, redwood, that was used back in the day. Okay, so we're going to old school. Remember, A5, detail, section A, detail number 5 is what we're looking at. Okay, you can't see the door, you can't see the window. Don't worry about that. Your information is based upon what's on this wall. What does this inside of this building have to do? Does it have 3/8 drywall? You can't have 3/8 drywall nowadays. No, 1/2 inch, 5/8. You're going to get it from here. It's going to tell you your size of your drywall. It's going to tell you the size of your CJs. CJ is a terminology for abbreviation for ceiling joist. This is the ceiling. This is the drywall hung on the ceiling. There's a nailing schedule for drywall or a screwing schedule for drywall. The size of the drywall is 1/2 inch. You have a double plate on your framing. At the top, you have a top plate, which is at the bottom, but you have a double top plate, which is at the very top. This plate is where your rafter sits on top of. This plate is where your ceiling joist sits on top of. This wall bears the weight of both. And these both members span across a room. So you can kind of get a gist on how the shape of the roof is getting ready to rise. It's rising 4 inches every foot. So if you got 12 feet and you going 4 into 12, you up over 36 inches. That's 3 feet. just in a 12-foot span. If you're going 30 feet, just, hey, 4 inches times 12. Inches, not feet. The 4 is inches. This is a foot. So for every rise, you got a run of 12. Same principle with stairs. We're going to get into that, stairs and roof cutting. When you see on my model how we're going to put things together, I just want you to follow me. I want you to view as much as you can. View this as in your entirety, because the information that I'm giving you is going to truly help you. So we have here a sole plate. It's written out here. Sole plate is the bottom plate of your framing. You have a stud. This is the 2x4 member. Or don't forget, it could be a 2x6. It is going to specify everything that you see here on the sectional drawing or view is specified. If you see anything else on here that's different from another part of the plan, this is what you do. You take the note, you call the architect or the engineer that's on the site, okay? And big jobs, you have to do a RFI. A RFI is you got to request for this information. That means they're not on the job site. You got to fill out this form, fax it over to them, and give them critical information on where you're looking at and what's the discrepancy on the other plan that's saying one thing versus another here. Very simple but you need to do that, because you may see on the roof plan that rafter may be what is called 2x8, but what if on the other plan it tells you it's 2x10? So go figure. And there could be various different sizes of lumber dealing with rafters depending on where they're located. California frame, where a roof is intersecting into a main roof. The main roof is the big roof. This is just a little porch, and it's California and back end with 2 valleys and a ridge. Very simple framing, but the rafters are not going to be the same size. So there needs to be a detail specifying what those rafters are going to be. And you'll see that also on the plan. But you must pay attention to everything, every part of the plan. We have plywood. Our plywood is specified, which is called subfloor. The subfloor is going to specify the size of the lumber. It's not going to be 1/2 inch. So let me take that off right now. It's not going to be 1/2 inch. It's going to be more or less like 3/4. 3/4 of an inch, your subfloor, majority of the time. 5/8, if you want to get a little bit cheap and go with it, and you got a renovation or a rental property or something, you probably can get away with that, okay? But most of the time, sturdy floor is 3/4 of an inch. I suggest you put the 3/4 inch down, and it's glued to your framing member. This is FJ. FJ stands for floor joist. You have ceiling joist, okay? That's above. That's a 2x8. Can it be less than that? This is the common factor. If you have a 2x8 rafter, most of the time you can't go with a 2x6 ceiling joist. But again, it depends on how far this wall is from the next bearing wall or a non-bearing wall. Because sometimes you can put joists on non-bearing walls. It's not a lot of weight factor. Everything is being carried from one load to another load, from one main wall to another loaded wall, which is a bearing wall. Is it common? I've seen rafters and ceiling joists, same size. The rafters may not be going up as high, but the ceiling joists may be going a lot further because there could be another roof tying into that. But pay attention. This is something that you need to know when you're estimating. It's going to tell you asphalt shingles, composition shingles, wood shake shingles. It's going to even tell you if it's tile, clay tile. This information is going to be on your sectional view. It's going to have your fascia board. What size your fascia board is going to be? Fascia board is normally it's specified as a 1x10, but it can be 1x8. 1 mean 1 inch by 10 inch. Okay, that's the fascia board. Fascia board is right here. It's at the edge of the rafter tail. The rafter tail is either going to be cut plumb or it's going to be cut straight. A straight rafter tail is square at the end. There's really no cutting to do but to cut the overhang. Your overhang on your rafter determines from your wall before it hits the fascia board. That overhang, as we see here, is 2 feet. So you need to let your rafter go 2 feet beyond. That's how you're going to calculate how long your rafter is going to be. You need to calculate usually 2 feet past the wall, but you also want another foot. Because a lot of times, a lot of lumber is cracked, and it's cracked really bad. That crack can go 6 inches up, 8 inches up, and you have to cut that end of the board off if it's cracked. If it's cupped, you don't want those as rafters, which means it has a little cup to it. You know, it's not straight. It could be bowed. Bow goes up. You don't want it going down. If it's got a bow in it, a hump, you want that hump to go up. Because if you put it opposite, then guess what? You go to put something up underneath it, it's going to do this to your roof. You're going to be sagging. So on top of your roof here, your plywood is going to sag. Crown, we call it a crown. On your floor, on your ceiling joists, on your rafters, the crown always goes up. Crown goes up. That's an R. I'm writing backwards, y'all, so excuse me. This is a C. Crown goes up. Floor joists, ceiling joists, rafters, crown always goes up. Information, we're giving it. You'll know that you want to have insulation. This insulation is R11, usually in 2x4 walls, R11. 2x6 walls, R19. Okay, there's a rating. That's the value for your insulation factor. Okay, R30 usually goes 2x8s. Like I say, 2x6, R19. But your ceiling, you want it well heavily insulated. R30 is the best. Now, mind you, these are bats. You can also have blown insulation. Now, you have to calculate for that. And that's on square footage. Remember we went over square footage, how to get the square foot of a room or area? Very simple. That's width times length. That's multiplication, okay? So, double top plate, top plate. Okay, we have a 1/2 inch plywood on the roof, okay? That's what you're going to have. Then you're going to have 15 pound or 30 pound is what I usually like. Or I double the 15. 15 is becoming really obsolete right now. You want your roof to be protected. Asphalt shingles is what's the waterproofing, but the underlayment is supposed to be like the cushion. But I also say that it also holds a value to prevent water leaks also. So your roofing film, that's the squares. Roofing is estimated in squares, like 10 by 10. That you want a square instead of a square footage. So you want your roofing to be ordered in squares and not in feet, okay? Usually there's a gutter here. It will tell you whether it's metal gutter or not, okay? You have your 1/2 inch drywall or your 5 inch drywall. You have your insulation. You have your sole plate. Now, let me tell you something about the sole plate. In framing now, there is a Nelly schedule for your sole plate, and that's dealing with engineering. I got this flying here, and I'm going to review him right now. Okay, back on the board. Okay, so sole plate has nailing. It nails to your joist. There is a stitch nail too that the engineer can require you to do with 10 commons or 8 penny nails. Commons are now becoming the most thing used in framing, even in your framing of all your lumber, whether it's to the floor, it's usually going to be commons. Now, a lot of guys are getting away with buying the wrong nails and they're using them on your jobs. You got to be very careful on who's buying the hardware. Nails is hardware. Out in the South, the framer, he buys the nails. So he puts that in his price. In California, on the West Coast, the framing company supplies the nails as well. You know what I'm saying? But the crew does not have to buy it. The contractor buys it. So they make a crew of guys that is maybe not be licensed, but there's about 10 or 15 of them. They go on big apartment complexes and frame. They have to buy their own nails. So they have to factor that into the price. You should too. Also dealing with engineering, like your straps, your hold downs and all that, that's also factored in. So make sure that you account for those things. So we're going to go over some Simpson hardware and how to install in terms of how to get the layout for it so they can meet your window and door specifications on your seismic engineering. So that way you won't have nothing in the way or it won't be out of the way. It'll be right in place where it goes and you'll pass inspection. I promise you that. Okay, so out on this outside, we have building paper because either we're going to go with on our exterior finish siding. It could be vinyl, it could be wood, okay, or stucco, or brick. Each one still has to be wrapped with a certain type of weather-resistant membrane or paper. Okay? Now, underneath your soffit, this area right here, underneath your soffit, you have 2x4s that's framing that's attached. There usually is what we call a ledger that your 2x4s is attached to. That ledger is a 2x4 here that's nailed against, and it runs the whole length of your building, and that length is what we call here, all the way up and around your soffit. Out of 2x4s, you got to calculate that. They're going to be spaced at every 16 inches on center, and at every 8-foot intervals. Sometimes it can be specified 6-foot intervals, 8 max. You got to need a vent. You got to vent out that soffit because it's closed off. Yeah, I know birds usually are the problems with these things right now. But if you install them correctly and you nail them good, it's going to take the bird a while to get in through. Now they got better screens and all that. So just got to go with it. Your rafters, they're going to be 2x8 rafters, and they're going to be spaced at 16 inches on center. Fascia board is 1x10. Your fascia is always going to be longer than your rafter. It's going to drop down another 1.5 inches. So if you're a 2x8 rafter, you got a 1x10 fascia board. The principle remains the same. Unless you have a fascia board that's going to be specified as 2x10. I've seen it with a 2x4 on the outside of that as well. So prepare for that. That could be also on this plan too. Every detail on here is for you to be able to estimate and know what the supplies that you're going to need for this job. I've seen a lot of guys did not even look at this. They were novice. They gave just a price. Oh, how much you going to charge? Do not ever give nobody a square footage price off the bat or off the top of your head, and you have not seen the plan. That man can have a deck wrapping around this house, and then you just thinking it's a basic plan, and you going by square footage. Oh, and a lot of guys, you lose their tail. They will bid a framing project, and I don't know why, and they're still bidding at $4.50 a foot. Shoot, when I was in school, it was 12.50%, 12.25% for the labor. Then you got your material. So a contractor, he's got 12%. And he's telling you, well, you know, I think I just might do it for 6. Well, fine. You guys are robbing these guys out here, breaking their backs, and then they get mad when these guys get hurt. Look, you pay a man well, he's going to make sure he's going to do a good job for you. But you screw him in the beginning. I knew a guy that nailed off a whole entire rafters with 8 penny nails. Go figure that. The whole roof was framed with 8 penny nails. It's supposed to be 16. He took away half of the strength for the nail because he wasn't getting paid. These guys know now they're being mistaken, misused, and abused on the field. Do the guys right. There's nothing wrong with $6 a foot on framing. There's nothing wrong when you get into custom, you better be $8 and up. When you got balloon height walls, and it's a house that's never been built before. But if you're in production and you got this house every other house and you got 3 plans and you know all 3 plans and it's 20 houses in that subdivision, then yeah, go figure. Your guys are going to get faster each time they get to that house. So yeah, you pick up speed and the price is going to go down. Yeah. So don't cheat yourself though. The days for $3.50 and $4 of square footage framing, those should be over with, y'all. Don't do that to yourself. If y'all can combine and get yourself and your crews together, I don't care. Stealing jobs or coyoteing jobs is what they call it in California. That means you're taking work from another man. And don't do that when you come here. Everybody has a right to work. Okay, everybody in the United States has a right to work. Just know one thing. The guy working next to you could be the guy that can help save your life if a truck is coming or a load is being dropped off and you're in front of it. That guy can save your life. You out there as a brotherhood in carpentry. A strong brotherhood. Whether you Mexican, Honduran, Guatemala, whether you from Costa Rica, whether you Cuban, whether you African American or whether you Caucasian, whether you Asian, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, it does not matter. We out here building. And yes, injuries happen every day on these jobs. Pay attention. Okay. So you see I have marked in red. The red that I have marked in, you have an anchor bolt. Anchor bolt. Okay? Point that out for you. Usually every 4 feet. Most of the time, planners are going to call it every 6 foot intervals. There's going to be a foot from the corner. And every one after that is going to be 4 feet or 6 feet after. Now, if you have a shear wall, now this wall is going to be a shear wall. See, I have 1/2 inch shear panel. You could also have 3/8 shear panel on certain parts of the house. Shear is going to be specified by the engineer. There's a structural drawing. And we're going to get into that. Structural drawings show the meat and potatoes of the framing. The size lumber gets bigger. The openings, they show you. The posts, they show you where all the engineering is on that. You really, really need to go there and really master that. We're mastering this, so pay attention. Pay attention. We're mastering this first, okay? Before we move on, I just want you to stay with me because a lot's going to be going on. You have a minimum height up underneath your crawl space. 1'6" is the minimum. 18 inches. I usually like 20 inches for room. Crawl space, you got your plumbing. Don't forget. You also going to have your insulation. Insulation. Also wants to put R30 in the floor. Okay? R30 in the floor. Insulate the bottom. You could put plastic up underneath before you drop your insulation. You could drop your insulation and have a guy, because guy going to be on his back unless you do the insulation before the floor is sheeted. Very smart if you can do that. Some people put tie wire and string wire up underneath, you know, or just wire period up underneath so that the insulation does not fall and go to the ground. Some guys staple it. Eventually some of that stuff starts falling. It's good to really go ahead and do wire up underneath so that you don't lose your insulation, and then you sheet over the top of it. Okay? Very important. 2 foot, every 2 foot is our soffit is going to be for our lookouts. Our fascia board we went over. You got your vent, 6x14 vent, or it could be a 6x16 vent, you know, and it's going to specify. Everything on this board is for you to get information from. Very important. Your footing, your stem wall, your footing, you got your footing down here, 16 inches. I have done footings where they were wider than 16. They were 8 feet. They were 2 feet. Okay? I dug trenches. So this is a trench that's being dug. There's forms being set here on the outside for this wall to look the way it looks. This stem wall needs to be a minimum of 8 inches from your finished grade, the dirt. Okay, the ground. 8 inches minimum. I've seen it at 10. Okay. So, went over the asphalt shingles, went over the section. We went over plywood for the soffit, which is 3/8 plywood for the soffit. You got your ceiling joists. Now, ceiling joists, floor joists, they have a layout, special layout. Your floor joists, you want to miss your toilets. You want to miss your traps. So there are special layouts. You just don't do 16 and go. No, or 16 and back. If the joist goes one way and another joist have to take over, it goes to the opposite side. It laps. You do your 16 and go, then you do your 16 and back. Okay? You don't do a 16 and then another 16 go. Then you're not, no, you're going to be defeating the purpose. One up, one back. One up, one back. One up, one back. Okay? You have your wood base. This is your baseboard trim for your finish. But there's also a trim piece here in this corner right here. I didn't draw it out. You can't see it. This black marker is kind of thick. So there's a trim piece for the exterior. It's a nice piece that finishes off your soffit on the back end against the wall. Right in this corner right here. Okay? What else have we need to cover? Your stem wall, you have rebar. Okay? Pay attention, because in your foundation, there's going to be some detailed drawings. And they're going to have letters and numbers. And that number is detailed. Number 5 is going to be for that area. And it's going to have a circle around it. All the rebar, the lineal footage going around your house where you have a foundation. your rebar needs to be calculated in the lineal feet, which means there could be quite a bit of rebar. I have 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. See, this is the ground level. Usually it's 3 inches from the bottom, 3 inches from the top. You're also going to have rebar at your footing, okay? But guess what? It doesn't stop there. You're going to also have hold downs going inside, which is like a different type of anchorage. It's long. It could be as long as this. I've seen them 18 inches, 2 feet long. And that boat is big, heavy. It sits on top of the form. In the middle, we have this rim joist for your framing. You're always going to have a rim. Your framing member is going to come into this rim right here. It sits on the edge of the building. So that way you get your nailing. A lot of your sole plate nailing is going into this rim. You're nailing from this plate into this rim. You're also nailing into this joist. Your nailing is in the beginning part of your blueprints. And you have to remember that. Remember, you need to read those general notes in the very beginning, because those general notes explains type of nails, how many nails. It goes through from your floors to your framing. How many nails for your joists? How many nails for your floor joists? How many nails for your ceiling joists? How many nails for your headers? It goes through the whole list of nailing schedule. It is a nailing schedule. So pay attention to everything that we have on our board here. Please, you can take a picture of it. You can go back to it. You can look at it. You can zoom in. I tried to bring my camera a little bit closer. It's because of sometimes I write small, and you might not see this right here, 2x4, you know, at 16 inches on center. So I have to point that out to you. And that's an interval. That means it's going and making a run all the way here and around. And if it's 2 feet, now you got to calculate. 2 is 4 foot, 3 is 6 foot, 4 is 8 foot. That's an 8-footer. Now, if you got these going all the way around your perimeter, you got to multiply and find out and calculate the length of total length that you need for all these soffits, these outlookers. That some people call them, some people outriggers, outlookers. You know, fascia board also in the front. California, we have them outriggers because they hold the fascia board. In the South, they let the plywood hold the fascia board. Different. But I just think if the plywood rot and it get rain and it's rotted, that whole fascia board gonna fall. We have outlookers, the outriggers, the 2x4, and they hold the fascia board whether the plywood is rotted or not. But things are done from one part of the country to another part of the country. I want you to pay attention to the wealth of information that I'm giving you. Your pressure treated 2x6 it's a double, okay? It's sitting on top. Sometimes it's usually a single, all right? But this, in this case, on this plan, it's a double. You have 1 foot 10 from the top of your sole plate to the dirt, okay? That's the distance. You can calculate that in feet, and you can go into inches. The measurement here from the bottom of your footing, remember this is your concrete footing, C-O-N-C dot or period is abbreviation for concrete. Footing. Footing is at the base, at the bottom of everything. You know, this between from where you have 8 inches above the ground and for how deep you got to go below the finished grade underneath the house, you got finished grade here. And you see the difference in the height of both finishes? One dirt is lower than the other. One is higher than the other. This is the outside. This is under. You got to have a crawl space. So a lot of dirt got to be removed. This needs to be suited to code. Whatever the building code on the plan said, you need to make that happen from this top of the soil or your finished grade to the bottom of where your base, your concrete footing is going to be. Slabs are different. We're going to go through the slab foundation as well. I want you to stay tuned for my next video that I'll be coming to you with. You know, I'm really trying to give you a lot of information and school you like nobody has. You can go to many different schools and classes. Right here, we're going to get very personal and very technical with you. For what we learned in the past 38, 40 years, we're still ever learning because codes and framing change every 3 years in California. From coast to coast, cities to cities, state to state, across the United States, things change because of weather patterns, earthquake, seismic engineering, movement of the ground. Things do change. I want you to be a great viewer for me and subscribe. Subscribe, follow me on this channel. You're going to learn a lot. I'm not trying to make you do anything, but this is very important for you as to become a carpenter or a builder, or even if you're renovating your own projects. Same thing. I'm a master remodeler, so this all still apply, whether it's from the ground up or you remodeling. A lot of guys have been doing remodeling, but they don't know how to go from the ground up with total new construction. I can do both. You can give me a set of plans. I want you to be able to be job aware so that you will know. And when the guy that's running the job know that you have some skill set on looking at the plans, your price is going to change for your hourly wage. That's most definitely, because you're going to bring a lot to the table on the job site. You're also going to be a vital influence to all your other coworkers that don't know. Share your information as you see fit. I know a lot of guys out there right now work for people that's not sharing information. Well, you can get it right here, you know. And if it causes a situation or problem, keep your mouth closed, keep working. That guy going to notice how you're working. He's going to notice that he doesn't have to tell you as much as he used to. And he's going to come in, hey, man, you're doing good. I've been watching you. I don't have to tell you I do. You're okay. So when he tells you that, so what do you think? Think I'll be able to get a raise? $1? I'm making 12 right now. You think I'm worth 14? And construction raises on a job site like that, they happen on how your experience builds up. Okay? You go to a school and you go to a carpentry class, whether it's at a college or whether it's at a private institution, you know, challenges are going to be made. When you're giving up your life on the weekends to study, to read books, estimate, all these different things, you're putting knowledge into your head so you can go out on your own and do your own thing. That's what it's all about, right? Okay? But some people would rather for you to live and work with them forever, and they just dictate how much they pay you. You can free yourself from that now. You got the internet. You got a guy like me that'll help you with the knowledge that you need to learn, because we're getting ready to get into some real increment things. I hope you've been paying attention. I'm getting ready to erase this board. Oh, it's a nice board too. I did a lot of work in this board. But there's going to be another. As you've been following me, I'm drawing. I'm drawing as much as I can for you so that you can try to draw yourself, or you can see. When you read plans, you eventually will know how to draw plans. Okay? And that also enhances your ability to make more money. Estimating is what you really want to get into, because that's how you're going to control your own projects. And that's how you're going to be the man at your own, or the woman at your own job. Okay? Thank you for joining me. God bless you and your family. I hope this information has given you a lot to go on. Continue to follow me. Look at the videos as many times as you want. Hey, I'm going to be here for a while, because wait till you see the model frame that I have. And I'm going to take you through the layout. Oh, it's going to be off the chain. See you soon.